And the amazing tale of a team that played 5 big games in 6 days.
This incredible journey almost never got started. They had the jerseys and they had the pants, but they forgot the shoes.
On Campus is presented by Outback Steakhouse. No rules, just right.
Well, this story's for all the football players out there who consider themselves rough, tough, and resilient. An incredible journey at the turn of the last century of the sturdy men of Sewanee, University of the South there. You talk about taking one for the team coffer. Now, Tony Barnhart rejoins us from Tuscaloosa, 3 miles away. Sewanee takes on Stillman College. Tony, is that the only game on the schedule this week?
Well, I tell you what, Chris, as you said, Sewanee's no longer a national college football power. But 100 years ago this week, they had the best team in the land, winning 5 games in 6 days, all on the road and all by shutouts. It was a feat that will never again be equal. And while many people say that the Sewanee Tigers of 1899 were college football's original Iron Men. Nestled on a mountaintop and surrounded by 10,000 acres of southeast Tennessee pine, the pastoral Sewanee campus is more than a location on a map. For many, it is a place in the heart.
The university itself is designed after Oxford of England, and all the architecture up there, you think you were in an English countryside.
It's like something out of Norman Rockwell, I guess, the best I could compare it to. It's just like you would, think it should be.
On November 7th, 1899, 21 players, a coach, a manager, and a trainer rode the Mountain Goat train down to the valley town of Cowan, where they began the 31-hour trip to Austin. By the time it returned, the Sewanee football team had traveled 2,500 miles and beaten 5 college football powers by a combined score of 91-0.
They played their first game against Texas and won that game. Then they traveled on to Houston, where they played Texas A&M. The next day, they played that game and won.
Took the train to New Orleans and beat Tulane 23-0. And took a day off, I think, had a little fun in New Orleans. Nothing wrong with that. And then they went to Baton Rouge the next day and beat LSU 34-0.
And they went to Memphis and played Ole Miss on Monday, and then came home to Sewanee. I think they actually got home Tuesday night.
It's incomprehensible to think that you could play 5 games in 6 days, much less win all of them.
The entire trip was orchestrated by Luke Lee, the shrewd 20-year-old team manager who would go on to become a United States Senator at the age of 32. Lee was a man truly ahead of his time.
Well, apparently the student managers back then were, virtually athletic director. It wasn't just Daddy at Sewanee. It was, I think, pretty all over that they had a say in hiring the coach, in recruiting players, and in making the schedule.
He had to be sort of a genius in terms of negotiating. I don't know how anybody could convince 5 big schools to play us in 6 days on a train trip and us get half the receipts to boot.
After the final game, a 12-0 win over Ole Miss, Sewanee's Iron Men wearily returned home to a hero's welcome and their place in college football history.
The whole mountain showed up, about 400 people, all the students and all the people that lived up there, and greeted them when the train arrived. And they had a big flat car that they put the team on. Instead of using horses to pull the flat car up to the top of the university, the students pulled the whole team up to the quadrangle in the university, and they celebrated for about 2 days.
To me, it was the most outstanding accomplishment in football ever. And talk about your stars of today, but none of them could compete with that.
That was a fabulous trip, and it was something that the Iron Man could always be proud of.
They only used 15 players. Meanwhile,